My mom told me the story of the night that they all woke up and the walls were pounding and they could hear many voices chanting, and my mom was saying, "What is that?" And my dad was saying, it's playing with my motor nerves on the back of my neck. And she said, "Get rid of it." And he's like, "Well, I want to see what it wants first." And she said, "Don't see what it wants, get rid of it." And he replied, "What did you say?" Something like that. And his face looked very different. And she was terrified, as anyone would be. And the way she described it, she reverted back to her Episcopal upbringing and started praying very quickly to Jesus and the Virgin Mary to save her and my sister, who was young at the time. And I, of course, wasn't born yet, as I mentioned. And then it was gone. The walls stopped pounding. My dad was back to normal, and they could smell the scent of roses in the air. And that story shook me quite a bit. And in my 10-year-old brain, having gone to church with my friend Ryan Barr when we were younger, you know, exposure to my grandma and movies like The Omen probably, I told my mom I wanted to be baptized. And my dad wasn't baptized. That must be why he was vulnerable to that, because at the college they weren't doing Christian exorcisms. They were doing some kind of secular exorcism based on universal love, but they weren't invoking the name of Yeshua or Christ, you know. And so, yeah, that all kind of clicked in my brain. I'm like, well, surely, you know, if there's nothing to it, then it won't matter whether I'm baptized or not. But just in case, I think it's pretty important. And so at the time, my grandma was going to a Lutheran church in Doherty, California, a suburb of Los Angeles. And so I talked to the priest there. I think he's called a priest. And he said, "Why do you want to be baptized?" And I said, "Well, there's a war going on between heaven and hell, and I want to make sure God knows I'm on his side." And he was kind of taken aback by that, and with the conviction that I didn't tell him, of course, the part of the story that I told you. So they arranged it. I don't know, it was a week or two later. And my sister was my godmother, so that's how my sister became my godmother. And I remember there was a shell, and the whole congregation was there. And I remember the water was cold, and I was resisting the urge to laugh when they poured it on. But anyway, so that's how I ended up being baptized in a Lutheran church. And now we're reading some Martin Luther. So there you have it. Next time, we're on sort of a rotation. So the next time it'll be Gwydion, which is basically me with a hat reading another book. And the hell are you wearing? Oh, hi, Gwydion. It's new. I got it at Maldagoa, the United Colors of Benetton. It's nice. Thank you. So that's how you're going to leave the episode? Yeah, I guess. Why? You know, whenever you start a new book on chicken philosophy, it attracts a bunch of people that have never seen you before, and you're just going to let them assume that you're a good Lutheran boy. Cue it.
Everything I've ever done, everything I ever do, every place I've ever been, everyone I'm going to, it's a sin. Father, forgive me. I try not to do it. Turned over a new leaf, then tore right through it. Whatever you taught me, I didn't believe it. Father, you fought me, 'cause I didn't care, and I still don't understand.
See, Martin Luther, see what you did to this poor boy? He had to make this song to try to process some of the bullshit.
Accept this Bible as a gift.
But it's been translated.
You think God only speaks Latin? Should only the monks and priests know what God wants to tell us?
Are you a Lutheran?
I'm a man of God, sir. And we're building a new church. One without idols. We're building a new world.
Well, if that doesn't put you in the mood for some Martin Luther, I don't think anything will.
Now I know what you're thinking. Unitarian? Really? What does that have to do with Martin Luther? But don't forget, he did open the can of worms. And even the very last of the worms that came out hundreds of years later and was rainbow-colored, still kind of part of his legacy. The only reason there's more than one church in Western Europe is because of our friend Martin Luther.
If anyone, like the Pope, the Antichrist, forbids such a thing, then you don't have to obey. Now, was he listing two examples of people who might forbid such a thing? Or was he suggesting, as many Protestants do, that the Pope, the office of the Pope, is the Antichrist? And who is worthy to receive the sacrament? And who belongs there? I used to have an issue with this back in the day. Oh God, I don't know when. 2001, I went to a Catholic church with some, fellow cult leaders. It was a different time in my life. Anyway, I went up and received the host and the wine, because everybody else was. And then the most Catholic among us was like, "You're not Catholic." And I was like, I'm not Roman Catholic, but I would consider myself part of the one true apostolic, Catholic Church mentioned in the Nicene Creed of 325 AD, in spirit. She was like, "You can't take communion if you're not Catholic." And I was like, "Well, that's horse shit, and she's like, "You have to be baptized." And I was like, "All right, well, I've been baptized, so no, you have to be baptized Catholic." And I was like, "What? Okay, well, who do I talk to?" "Well, you have to go through 9 months of RCIA." I'm like, did John the Baptist require 9 months of RCIA when he was standing in the Jordan? I was very indignant about, all the gatekeeping between me and that little circular flat thing. Right? I mean, it's like you have to have a Costco card if you're going to be considered a Costco member. So if you show up at Costco and you don't have your Costco card, you forgot your name and they can't look it up by thumbprint, then for all intents and purposes, you're not a member of the Costco family. It's the definition of being a Costco member, right? So in that, Martin Luther is right on correct. But in that he assumes that you must be a Costco member or else you're going to burn in hell forever, I personally don't think that that's true. He extends his rebuke to include those who seem outwardly to be righteous and who commit their sins in secret. Such were the Jews. Why are we reading this again, Edward? Who without desire or love for the law of God lead decent lives, but at heart hate God's law, and yet are quick to judge other people. Says the guy who's right now judging other people. Right, yeah, okay. This is the nature of all hypocrites. To think of themselves as pure and yet be full of covetousness, hatred, pride, and uncleanness. Matthew 23, 25 through 28. So, yeah, I think it's historically interesting to note that the Germans would have been reading this in their Bible, not the translation of the Bible, but the preface to the translation of the Bible by the person who was hailed as the leader of their version of Christianity, as far back as the mid-1500s. Oh no, when did the Turks... Okay. Right, okay. I think this was, 1530s. When did Constantinople fall to the Ottomans? Editor Edward? May 29th, 1453. All right, well, that'll give some insight to you folks, but I'm still just as lost as I ever was. All right. That the prophets will say will stand in the holy place, but they are not comparable to the papacy. The papacy is much worse even than the Turks. The Turks are also antichristy, but not as antichrist superstar as the Pope. The Pope is Marilyn Manson, according to Martin Luther. I'll keep reading. The more Martin Luther we read, the sooner the time will come when we won't be reading Martin Luther anymore. We will continue reading the writings of Martin Luther, because as the Scottish schoolmaster said, Martin Luther, Secret of the Golden Flower, Secret of the Golden Flower, Martin Luther, something like that. You have to go on the wheel, the chicken wheel, you have to get through Martin Luther to get to Secret of the Golden Flower. As you know, I have come to remove the ball gag from the mouths of those who say, and to put the ball gag back in the mouths of those who say, but I'm not into S&M. There is plenty of competence and craftsmanship there. A compliment. Martin Luther just paid a compliment to some Jews. But it kind of seems to imply in my mind, are you seeing this? It's kind of pinkish from my perspective. Anyway, pinkish, orangish. Yeah. They paid a compliment. Maybe a subtly backhanded compliment. Maybe setting up for to see the back of the hand later on, because Martin Luther is, not known for being not anti-Semitic. How safe can you be? Why not go back to worshiping Astarte? That's safer than this whole patriarchal new aeon of the age of Aries shit. Aquarius, before it goes backwards, if you know the wheel. So before the age of Aquarius was the age of Pisces. That's when Jesus and Caesar started the age of Pisces, and then the ram's horns that were very the shofar, blow your shofar on Yom Kippur. Or just give him a bonus. We believe that the one who lies on the Virgin's lap is our Savior. Parentheses, not only that he is Mary's son. And parentheses, because that's what the Catholics say. They're like, who's Jesus? Oh, the Virgin Mary, blessed be she. We worship you, O Goddess, and we praise you, for you are the... Oh, excuse me. She had a kid. Did you hear? Yeah, that was kind of part of one of the signs that she was holy, was she was a virgin, because she said she was, and she got pregnant without doing the naughty stuff. And that's how we know that she was holy. Praise Mary. She had a little rugrat running around somewhere. I don't know. I think he became a carpenter or something. That's what the Catholics say, according to Martin Luther's straw man Catholic.
I couldn't help overhearing. The argument you are employing, Mr. Kyle, is not logical. It exhibits the straw man fallacy.
Living in fear of eternal damnation is a kind of hell, and encouraging a system of thought or philosophy or religion in which you intentionally cause people to walk around in a state of primal fear in order to get them to behave better is something I disagree with. So we got 1 and 1. All right, moving on. Martin Luther, part 40, in which we'll continue reading the writings and lectures of Martin Luther. It's one of the pedals. About 2/3 of the way through. So this is episode 40. A little less than 2/3. We might make it to, 65 episodes of Martin Luther before we can move on to something else for the orange pedal. That'll be fun. Today's beverage is just like this coffee. It's a big cup. And Edward? Oh, hey, Pymander. Good to see you. How you doing? You reading Martin Luther? Yeah. I'm sorry. At least Secret of the Golden Flower is coming up next, right? That's true. That's true. I just wanted to pop in because I'm about to record Pymander Aquarian number 932. I was just starting to record Pymander number 933. Cool. Well, anyway, and it's not... Buddhist Books Podcast isn't really set up very well for an unboxing because I usually show the brand of the incense that I've just lit before the intro music is done. Right. And then, you know what I mean? So I wanted to pop in, if you don't mind, and just do the unboxing on Chicken Philosophy. Sure, yeah. Record Padmasambhava Part 18, in which I'm going to be reading. I know earlier when we were BT on Friday, we said that Tipitaka was coming up next because we didn't have it in our mind at the moment that it was going to be Buddhist Books 270. And right. Whenever the number of the episode ends with a 0, we do Padmasambhava. So that's what we're doing today. And so I want to use this incense. So... Ta-da! It's my favorite. Woo! It's my favorite. Oh yeah, you can show them better than me. What are you reading today? Oh, Mahavagga 7. Still doing the part where Lord Buddha's going into all the different possible situations that could come up that would result in losing the katina privileges. What are the katina privileges? The katina, I guess katina itself means privileges, but there's the katina cloth, which I guess is the privileges cloth, that, because there's the rainy season, and so all the monks' robes get wet, so when the rainy season ends, there's a period of 2 weeks or however long where they get like an extra robe that is like beyond what they're normally allotted, and but you can lose your katina privileges if you don't do it all just right. And so it's a lot. I mean, it's going on and on and on. Sounds exciting. How about you? Oh, Martin Luther just started with his commentary on St. Paul's letter to the Galatians. Who are the Galatians? Apparently it was people from Gaul, what we now call France, who lived in Anatolia on very honored Frater BT's Esoteric Nerd Soapbox, the precursor to the Esoteric Nerd podcast. The words around the outer circle of the talisman, in that particular font, come from the original proposed Great Seal of the United States of America of July 1776, which was later replaced with the familiar Imperial Eagle of Rome-looking thing on the back of the quarter. A great cauldron of fire, of burning, smoldering hot coals. and you look into the fire. It's about yay big, pretty big, large, 2 meters in diameter, you might say. Ooh. Anyway, so this one might be a bit spicy. This is cinnamon, a cinnamon cone. For those of you saying, you mean like a cone of power to the moon? Begone, ye pagan heretic. Just kidding, obviously. Speaking of, that sort of thing, I think one of my favorite, I didn't expect, yesterday we did Zen Buddhism Part 12. You've heard me talk about it before, if you're following everything here. And it was Dogen, and it was a particular lecture that I remembered and I've quoted more than once. And let's just play a little bit. There have been impure acts done with a reflection on water as an object. And there have been impure acts done with the sun in the sky as an object. So I believe what he's referring to is the 13th century equivalent of Rule 34. Disney is the new pope, is what I'm saying. What? People were directed to purgatory.
This way to Uptown.
It's a pretty good movie, actually. Heavenly Kid. The finale. The last Martin Luther episode on chicken philosophy. The end of Martin Luther. The end of Protestantism. No. But I know there's a lot of folks that'll think it isn't Martin Luther that's bad. It's, Jerry Falwell, Pat Robinson, who's the new guy, something Austin, the fuckers that, in the name of Protestant Christianity, shit all over all of us, And they have a good point. It would be better to be more like Martin Luther than to be like blind followers of charlatans who are just, in it for their own game. Yes, absolutely. However, all right, so we've done the beverage, we've done the incense, we've done the brief intro. Here's some more Christmas shenanigans. You can watch that while I get my shit together over here.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Let's try to finish this introduction today. For neither of others called gods, nor of men, nor of demons. Do you mean demons or daemons? You are ancient Greek, after all, but you're being translated by a fundy, so who knows. Can anyone, even after a sort, be good? But the God alone, and this alone he is, and nothing else. Speaking generally, not saying he's technically a fundamentalist Christian, denominative. For all things are separable from the nature of the good, for they are body and soul, having no place, able to receive the good. I'm completely neutral about whether I should continue reading the Pymander or not. Hey, Pymander, don't you think that'll confuse people? Don't I think what will confuse people? Well, you've just been reading the Pymander, and then you look off to the side and say, hey, Pymander, and I appear? It is a little random, but I think anybody who made it this far into the video probably started with part 1. That's true, but for the one or two who didn't see Pymander part 1, then they'll definitely be a little confused. A bit. So do you want to tell the folks about the link that we're not gonna do the circle of 15. We're gonna do his thing. Do you want to tell them about the link that's gonna be in the middle of the screen after the chicken cluck? Yeah. So we did Padmasambhava part 22. But do thou understand how that seeming to the many non-apparent shall become very apparent to thee? For it would be if it were non-apparent. Full stop. That's the end of the sentence. Why perpetuate bullshit? You're smarter than that. When you have a big brain and you're using your brain to analyzing it inside and outside, and then out of your mouth, out of that same mouth with these big ideas comes some propagandist, apologist, sales pitch for your cult, and it's disappointing. And it would be nice if we could all be real with each other without trying to recruit each other into these stupid little fraternities, right? Anyway, yeah, okay, that's off my chest. And if the person that's directed to is aware that you're the person I'm talking to or about, I apologize. Again, I enjoy most of what you put out there. I just it's one of those things, like I put you on a pedestal in my own way, and then you fell off it, and so I got frustrated that you know, because sometimes I'm like, oh, finally somebody who I get and who probably gets me, and we're on the same page, and now I wonder why you watch all my stories, and like, okay, why are you following me so closely to find out what this bastard heretic that's refusing to join cults has to say? Or is it just you're impressed by the uniform? Sometimes I think it's the uniform. Thus then, O child, standing in a place open to the sky, looking toward the south wind, about down going of the setting sun, bow the knee.
You're here to bend the knee.
There was this one time I was trying to cross the border with Canada, and I told him I couldn't tell him what I was doing there because it was part of an international secret society, and I refused to answer any of their questions. So they searched my car. And then there was this guard who was like, what the heck is the Kabbalah?
Psychology